Peace, family. This is your boy Gerald. It is the 14th of November, 2020. How is everybody doing? Time now is 6:48 Hawaii Standard Time, which would be 12. Uh, it would actually be 12:48. No, correction. Yeah, 12:48 Eastern Standard Time because it's almost 1 o'clock East Coast Standard. How was your weekend? I hope this weekend you allowed yourself to reflect, replenish, do what was needed to give yourself ample time for the new week. Because, hey, I gotta tell you, I know some of y'all are still focusing on 11/11, those that are into esoterics and what it represents. But what if I told you that the same strategy that is being played out to keep you offset, to keep you distracted, is going on? What if I told you that truly, instead of looking at the world through a tainted lens, but really you were a diamond all alone? And right by me saying that, it makes me think about the parable of the ugly duckling. You remember the childhood story of the ugly duckling, and how that duckling just wanted to belong, just wanted to feel love and feel safe. But through the struggles and trials and tribulations, it was not until the ugly duckling decided to do something that it had never done, and that was to tap into its own uniqueness, meaning its strength, to take the road last travel. And what would happen? Time would pass, and those same animals found in the barnyard would decide to go out onto the lake to get some water. And as they were looking out onto the lake, they saw the most majestic creature that they've ever set eyes upon. It was the black swan. Wings were strong. It seemed like it was just floating effortlessly. It was in its own element. It was just being. It was not until that swan would decide to careen the lake and come closer and closer, because it knew the other farm animals were at the crest of the lake, and it was surveying what it was seeing. It was already in control of its environment because it was at peace. And as it got closer for where the land and the mouth of the lake would meet, there still was no resentment. There still was no anguish. There still was no division. So when one of the farm animals said unto this swan, "What are you doing at our lake? Why are you here?" And the swan looked back and at first said, "I've always been here. I have right to this lake just as much as you do. You do not know me." And of course, with a little bit of retort and pretty much confusion amongst themselves, We don't know you. You're not from this parts. Who gives you right? What gives you right to be on our lake? The swan, with all calmness, it extended out its wings. You do not know me? I've always been here. Just as I've always been here, I've just as always loved you. But I cannot say that you have shown the same in kind. All of a sudden, the animal looked up. We'll say the horse. We'll say the sheep. Startled. They recognized what was in front of them. You were the one that we were always making fun of. You were the one that we all would play games around. You were the one that we looked at as the outsider. And the swan looked back and said, yes, I was. But it was not until I decided to look upon myself to see not only could I be alone, not only can I belong, but I can soar like the eagles, but I can still float like the geese. Shocked and amazed, they did not realize what was being shown. The black swan was the living illustration of change. So how many of you right now know, I'm talking about you, you know for a long time there were things about you that set you apart from your environment. There were things about you that you knew you had strengths and talents unlike anyone else, but you chose to water it down, to be silent, just to be a part of your said environment. How's that working out for you? Why is it that you feel that you have to demarginalize or ransom your happiness? Why do you feel that if you decide to actually tap into who you really are, take the proverbial mask off, you will be ostracized? Let me tell you something what's going on. Spiritually and emotionally, there's a ransoming of your being playing out. Excuse me, but what's sad, that is not a wager that they're willing to pay. They've already written you off as a liability, and they're hoping that you keep the status quo. Well, I'm only with them because of what I look like. I get access to them what I feel like. I'm only accepted by them because of what I can do. I can only feel acceptance of what I give up in return. Who am I talking to? Can't you see, family? You were the diamond all along. They just didn't want you to know that. They didn't want you to tap into your true self. They wanted to keep you distracted because as long as you stayed distracted, it benefited them from being exposed. Who am I talking to? So, I ain't gonna get on my soapbox. I'm gonna tell you this though. if you've been ransoming yourself, or this has been the condition more than 5 years, I can't even say that's a choice. But what I can acknowledge is it is a conditioned behavior through circumstance. Hold that thought. All right. So with that being said, family, you got to make a fucking choice. Because I got to change it up an octave. I will say this though. It's a choice. And I know for some of y'all, you may be in that place emotionally where, first and foremost, you're thinking emotionally, not logically. And we've all been there. But I'm going to tell you what. There is a demographic of folk that hope that you stay the course. Because as long as you stay distracted, they're going to win. They're going to win because they're looking at you as a liability. You don't believe me? Next time you get a chance, just go up on your TV and pull up the latest MTV European Music Awards and just look at the symbolization that's going on. You're going to be shocked. There's a lot of symbology being played out. But we already know what that's about. We already know. Because even like hip hop iconic group, The Roots, they put an album out nearly almost 20 years ago called Clones about not being able to, you're so focused on society, you forget about self. And I'm going to tell you what, they like that. Because as long as you don't focus on yourself, you're part of the commodity. That means just like the stock exchange, your mindset and mentality can be traded by the next influencer. Your body can be waged by the next person that can tap in. And you wonder why so many folks before their time end up in your local cemetery, make decisions that will impact their lives or mortality. Why? Because on a spiritual note, devil's work is not done. It's all about it. It's all about the agenda. Like I said, when you get a chance, go up on. You can go right here. Put in MTV European Music Awards and just watch. You can cut You can cut the volume off. Just watch at the symbology of what's being portrayed. Because, like legendary icon, hip hop artist Ice Cube, when he did the iconic album No Vaseline, oh I'm sorry, America's Most Wanted, he said, here's what we think about you. That's society telling you. We don't care about what you think. We don't care about your development. We don't want your growth. We want you to be mentally enslaved to do what we want. At what stake? What's the stake? Like De La Soul said, the stakes is high. Your health, your mindset, because everybody knows when the mind goes, the body flows. Whatever the mind digests, the reflection will be found in your body. It will come out of it. That's why you got so many 20-year-olds looking like they're 50. Why? Because they don't see the value and the worth of their life. They're playing it like it's a video game, like there's going to be a cheat code in the end that's going to be revealed, but it's not. And you wonder why the future elders are walking around bitter and broken and disconnected feeling that society has let them down, but society doesn't owe you nothing. It don't. So, with that being said, what will it take for you to have the courage to finally admit to yourself the things that have held you back? What will need to happen? And I want to hear this. I want to know in the comments. Don't worry, it's private. I want you to inbox me and answer that question. What will it take for you to finally be happy? What is that? What does happiness look like? Because if you let the naysayers tell it, all it takes is financial security. But in actuality, anything that's not earned is really nothing but a financial economic delight. Who am I talking to? What are you talking about, Gerald? I want to have a good man that has financially secure, but at what cost? For you to wake up one morning and you realize what you really wanted was to be a father or a mother, but you realize that you're sterile. Why don't we talk about that? Or for finally the one that's supposed to come into your life, your libido is so shot and destroyed because of past hurts and pain. No matter what they try to offer to you, there's too much emotional scarring. Who am I talking to? I want to be for. I'm trying to be respectful. I really am, but I want to tell somebody what they need to know. I know somebody saying, "Tell them, Gerald. Tell them." Listen, I'm gonna just say this: because you got a fat ass and big titties, or you got a big dick, and your stamina is endless, does not make you grown. Who am I talking to? But I can rock her bell, but she'll never make you feel safe because of her track record. I just want a good man, but there's no loyalty because he ain't loyal to. He's not. He can't be loyal to you when he don't know himself. You playing the game. This is nothing but the game of effects and acquiring. What do you mean? You came in. You got access to somebody that has means, but there's no trust there. You know why? Because he knew what it took to acquire you. So guess what? You're nothing but an additional asset, no different than if he was going to invest in a brand new tire. Who am I talking to? Well, I drop it like it's hot twice on Sunday. I give him whatever he wants, but he don't feel. We don't have a connection. Why? Because it ain't spiritually blessed. If you're with somebody that you cannot learn something different about yourself, you're with the wrong person. And proverbially, they're hoping you won't discover that. Because what's at stake is your longevity of your mortality. Well, what do you mean, Gerald? Men are visual creatures. But what keeps us around is not the physical, it's who you are within yourself. So if you haven't done the work, faking it to make it, the more transparent you are, the closer you will be. Remember that Roddy Ricch song, She's a runner. She's a crack. Well, she's a runner. She's a track star. Why do you think he put that song out? Because it was socially and economically the narrative of society. Because most people won't do the work. As soon as they feel that it's too hot, like Kool in the Gang, too hot, lady, gotta run for shelter, gotta run for shade. Ain't no different. Because they know the moment that you decide, hey, look here, let's sit down and let's have this discussion. They know you're not equipped to have that discussion. It is easier for you to suck your thumb than for you to open up your heart and mind. Who am I talking to? That's why the strategy is getting old. Well, she wanted me to have that conversation, but if I give her them strokes like she like, maybe that'll buy me some time. Who am I talking to? King, why is your focus, why are you treating your relationship like a game console? All I really want is that PS5. I'll be focused on it. Unconditionally there. Yeah, until you cut the switch off. Don't get me wrong, I want a PS5 too. But I ain't gonna spend $1,300 for it when I know it costs $499. You are the investment. Don't you get it? You are priceless. You're worth the wait. You're worth the wait after you've done the work. Why do you think all your relationships failed? It's not because of jiggles, not because of the tricks that you find behind your doors. Why is society focused on what you do behind closed doors than what's found here, here, here? Like Ice Cube said, because this is what they think of you. We're going to water it down like a fourth grader. We're going to use numbers and colors because that's how they respond. Just like if I'm shopping in Wally World. Notice how the things that they want you to buy are right by the register, but the things that you need, you got to search for. That's the same thing that plays out when it comes to your happiness. Who am I talking to? Meanwhile, you're so disbogulated of failures of relations past, you won't even give a shot to what's your present. And maybe you're not even in a position to be in a relationship, but you're so insecure, you feel that, well, as long as I got a warm body next to me, I'll suffice. Who am I talking to? They don't even deserve to hear you breathe, let alone have access to your life. But what we fail to realize is this, and I hope that this is not you. If you're not ready to embrace a new endeavor when it comes to your emotions, why are you showing that exposure to your children? Who am I talking to? Because they're going to turn around and say, well, if daddy did it, it must be fine. But if mama did it, it must be okay. That is nothing but a generational curse, fam. Don't fall for the okey doke. Don't you know you can't buy peace of mind? Don't you know? That's temporary. That is nothing but an illusion. If they, listen, well, I've been saying this for over a decade. You want to keep it real. Everybody talking about I'll keep it real. But yet you won't ask your friends what their purpose is. Well, that's too deep. They can't answer that. Well, if they can't answer that, why they got access to the front door? Who am I talking to? They can come and go in your life whenever they want to. But you don't check that. But you claim that you hard. I'm a G. No, you playing. Only G that you know is gaming your life. And guess what? Your lifestyle is on tilt. If you're not ready to answer, first of all, you can't demand people to ask the real questions if you won't answer them yourself. That's for somebody. And you have the nerve to have a fake attitude because they're not giving you what you want, but really it should be reflected back to what you need. We treat we teach people how we want to be treated. I wish somebody would call me and say, hey, what's happening? And I know that what? Don't even do it. And I say it out of love. I do. I say it out of love. Because that would be doing a disservice to myself, but it would be a disrespect to them. That's why I keep saying, keep it freaking moving. It would be beneficial for you to focus on yourself. Turn every proverbial stone in your life. Because if you do that work, guess what's going to happen? You are going to tap into your strength. You are going to find a sensibility to know what peace of mind is all about. We're talking about you, the real you. Hold that thought. I'm going to bring this home because I know some of y'all think I'm bitching, and I'm not. I'm not. Far from it. But what I'm here to tell you is you deserve better. Some of y'all have been in this cycle more than 5 years. Some of y'all are in your low point and you think that what your reality is all it's going to be. And I'm here to tell you the devil's a liar. He is. All he wants to do is kill, steal, and destroy your life. And if he can get a bonus round, He going after your children. Listen, that ain't nothing but a Jezebel spirit. You don't believe me? Go over in the inbox, look, and put in Jezebel spirit. That's how she works. She used the social architect to like the influencers today. She used her beauty to escalate through the economic structures to destroy many, only to inherit a painful death. Why? She denounced the Most High. There would not be no you if it wasn't for the Most High. Why? Because you was a spiritual being first. Don't you ever forget that. And let me tell you something. This is for somebody. Somebody, because your self-esteem is low, have convinced yourself that what your reality is all it's going to be. And I'm here to tell you, the moment that you decide to claim you, it will proverbially move mountains. I'm telling you that. Everything will make sense. But it does not happen until you decide to love you first. It ain't got nothing to do with your parents. Who am I talking to? I didn't get the love from my daddy. I didn't get the love from my mama. And that set me on a path of indecisiveness and insecurity. And I'm looking for it. No. You look within yourself. Now, but I'm going to tell you this, though. Because there's a lot of little girls out there that got holes in their heart in the shape of their dad. I'm going to tell you this right now. The worst thing you can freaking do is allow your pride to deceive you from the connection of that man. If your father is still alive, it behooves you to have that discussion, whatever it may mean. Why you feel the way you are, why you see the world the way you do. Your father can heal that. Why? Because you were the first one his heart melted for. Don't you ever forget that. Don't believe me? Pick up the phone, call him, and watch what he do. He ain't gonna put up with your bullshit. Because you're his daughter. But if you were at risk, he will give his life to protect you. Why wouldn't he? That's for somebody. King, if you got parents' issues, you are born with the gift of legacy, your last name. And what you decide to do with said legacy will have an influence on generations that will come after you. Do not ever forget that. You have worth, you have value, and you are loved. Don't you ever denounce that. Because if that wasn't the case, you wouldn't be alive. Hello, who am I talking to? Or better yet, what if they didn't know that you even existed? Happens. Shit happens. You know what I'm saying? But it's still a responsibility as a child. Have that conversation with your elders if you can. If they're walking around breathing, you need to put your fear to the side. Reach out. That's for somebody. Because you deserve that. Because what a lot of times happens, it is very easy to get set in our ways. And you have some folks that will say, well, I'm this old and that's just what it is. Who the fuck told you that? As long as you got air in your lungs and the will in your heart, you can change any scenario that you want. And just know the Most High has what's intended for your life. It just ain't claimed yet. Why? Because you're distracted over there. The away team is winning. They hoping that you won't do shit. They hoping you will stay the way you are because they see you as not a threat. You're just the entertainer to them. You're just the entertainment to them. I'll give a little sprinkle of attention over there. They'll let me. I know that's being raw, but you know. I'm loving each and every one of y'all, and y'all deserve to be happy. And if you don't know what your smile is, I don't know what to tell you. And I'm going to end it on that note. God's praying for you. You know I am. I see your worth. And for that, I always discern. Peace.